I am Warren Wooten. I'm the Assistant Director for Affordable Housing for the City of Charlotte. And I am joined by some of my esteemed colleagues this morning. We have Miss Ruth Eppolito on the call. She is one of our project managers. And we have Ronald Mason. Ron is in charge of our homeownership, down payment assistance, and other homeownership activities here at the City of Charlotte. We're excited to bring to you a new opportunity this morning. I'm going to do about half of the slide deck. And then Ruth is going to do the other half, and we will be able to take questions from you at the end. You can do that either by dropping a question into the chat or disabling your mic. And Ron, as I get going, if you would help with letting people into the meeting and also muting any mics that come in hot while I'm talking. Thank you, sir. All right, good to see everyone. So this program that we're going to present this morning is a program that was piloted by the city back in 2020 with some funding and some direction to council that they wanted to see the city to take a more active role in positive development in existing neighborhoods. And so that is where the ARR program came from. Stands for Acquisition, Rehab, and Resell. And so we're going to go through, what this program is and how to utilize it. And I'm going to try not to read all of these slides to you because I know that you can read them for yourselves. But basically what we do with this program is partner with nonprofit organizations to acquire, restrict, and resell homes that are on the market that are either being sold by a homeowner or being sold out of a rental, single-family rental inventory, and it allows us to partner with you to acquire those units and resell them to low and moderate income home buyers. And it's a bit of a unique approach in that the way the city funding comes in is we help to provide the subsidy, either through a direct subsidy at the closing table or through a write down of a loan to help you acquire and rehab that property. So the way the program is going to work this round is it's going to work through a loan pool model. This is something that we're going to try, and hopefully it will work the way that we've intended. And the process will be that you will apply to be an eligible loan pool member. And so what we have up on the screen here are some of the requirements. We're looking for nonprofits who do have some experience in this work. You may, I know that there may be some for-profits on the line. We welcome for-profits to participate. We just ask that you have a nonprofit partner, and we'll kind of show you why we're doing that here in a little bit. You need to be registered with the city as a vendor. We have an insurance requirement that you have to maintain, and then we're going to be looking at your rehab experience. And so that rehab experience, we're looking at you've completed 15 other rehab projects in the last 5 years. And again, that could be directly or through a group that's applying and working together. So the way this program works is you will act on your own looking for properties to acquire. These can be loans that you like I said, can be coming from a rental inventory, could be coming from an owner to resale it. If you're a nonprofit, you have first right of refusal on properties. Those are eligible properties to be acquired. We're going to show you the geography that the city is interested in. Right now, we're working at this loan value of 342 or less, and that is the resale value, and that value is set based on some information that we have for HUD and how HUD does its programs. We will fund you over that. Again, we're going to allow you to collect some fees for your participation in the program. And so the maximum funding for any unit that we're going to do is going to be $350,000. And for one partner, you may have up to $700,000 out with us at one time. So that could be $350,000 loans. Or if you have capital that you want to use, you don't have to take the full loan from us. You could just take a loan for subsidy and finance the rest of the construction out of cash on hand or out of a line of credit, as long as you only have $700,000 of outstanding liabilities with us. So you could do one loan at $350,000 and then pick 3 other units that you're going to finance yourself and ask us for just the subsidy amount of those units. And then, of course, they're going to be sold to households at or below 80% AMI. So that's what I just said. We already talked about the market value. We will allow you to use a soft second to capture any difference between the sales price and what you're financing to the owner. So this is a situation where the house might be worth $342,000, but there's actually only a need to finance $250,000, and you want to capture the rest of the equity through a soft second. Will allow you to do that. But the subsidy amount coming from the city can be no more than $80,000. We do want you using our other, basically the subsidy that we leave in the program through ARR is kind of the last resort subsidy. We want you using lenders down payment assistance programs. We want you using the housing finance agencies programs. We want you to use House Charlotte. And then if there's a remaining gap when you're doing this, will allow you to use the equity out of the ARR loan. We are going to institute a minimum shared equity approach in this. We will be flexible with this. I know some of you might do a longer stretch of shared equity on these projects, but we at least want to do a minimum 10-year shared equity approach as seen here. So if you're not familiar with shared equity, this is just to help to capture the gains on the property for the first 10 years. And so in years 1 to 3, the homeowner would not capture those gains. The nonprofit would actually capture those gains. And we'd ask that you'd reinvest those into another affordable housing unit, either the unit that this person is selling or another unit if for some reason this unit isn't a viable unit. You know, in year 4, the owner gets a third of that equity. In year 7, they get another third, so they're at 2/3. And then after 10 years, all of the equity is captured into them. And then we ask that the nonprofit partner hold a first right of refusal, so you do have the ability to buy it back, and also to put a restriction on the property so that it can't be used as a rental property. So again, this approach is to provide stability in neighborhoods, to convert rental units from rental into home ownership, to help with the ratio of home ownership to rental units. We're going to be focused in our corridors area, and so we'll show you that in a minute. But the whole approach is to help increase and stabilize home ownership and home ownership in some of our older neighborhoods. This is a little bit more about the loan terms. The loan that you take from the city is a loan. It will be securing that property. It's a 0% interest rate, again, at $350,000 a unit or less. That's just our maximum amount. We will have you put affordability requirements on that. We will be watching these projects, and we'll have a loan term on that loan, but if for some reason something gets stalled out, that happens, we'll extend that loan term. And then basically when you resale to the homeowner, after you'll provide a pro forma at the end, you'll provide a pro forma at the beginning, and we will help with that final piece of subsidy by writing down the amount needed to make it affordable to the buyer at the end of the project. So this is just an overview. And again, we're going to make the slide deck available so that you have it. But this is just an overview of the entire approach that we're discussing. Again, I'm not going to read through all of this because that's not what this is here for. But this is just to show you that the approach is a cyclical approach where the money goes out, you become a loan pool member. Once you're a member, you have the ability to reserve funds from the pool. Once you reserve them, we'll hold those funds for 3 months at first. As long as the closing is going to happen and there's no issues there, we can extend that. Again, we understand that the real estate market, partially, especially right now, can be volatile, and so we'll extend that. You'll close on the acquisition. You'll do the renovations. You'll put the you'll close the loan. You'll purchase. You'll put the restrictions onto the property. You'll do the rehab on that property, and then you'll resell it to a LMI buyer. We'll put the subsidy in needed to make the project pencil out. And the remaining amount of that funding will then come back into the loan pool. Then that funding will then go back out to the next person in line to purchase a property. I think that's the end of my set of slides. And I think, Ruth, you're going to run through this next set with our company, and we'll get some questions at the end. So I'll flip to the next slide for you.
Thank you. So I'm going to run through the actual process once it gets going. So the first step would be for partners to apply to actually become members of the pool, the funding pool. So we have some requirements that we'd like you to submit as part of that application. And you can see our requirements listed here. It's basically making sure that you've got the experience and also the capacity to carry out the program once it gets going. So the first stage will be for the pool membership to open, and then once you're approved, there's some other bits that you'd also need to include in your submission to become the member. So that's kind of standard that we request in other RFPs too. So articles of incorporation and tax exemption for the non-profit from the IRS. And we're looking for 2 years, ideally certified by a public accountant of your financial statements. And then I'd receive those documents, and then there may be a request for further information, and hopefully you're approved. And then we'd move on to the next stage. And next slide, please, Warren. So as long as you're approved and you become an actual pool member, so what would happen once you're a pool member, you'd get a letter of certification from the city saying that you're approved to go ahead and bid for funding from the ARR pool. It's a non-competitive process in so much that applications could be submitted at any time when the pool is actually open. So as and when you find properties that you think are suitable and you have the information on, please go ahead and submit those. We do ask for substantial information that comes along with the applications, just so that we can verify their suitability to the actual program. So those will be listed out within the actual supporting documentation. I've given a snapshot of what we'll be looking at here. One of the key things to note is that the rehabilitation costs themselves must follow procurement processes. And by that, we mean that we'd ask you to submit at least 2 quotes for the actual rehabilitation costs. If you're choosing or electing to use internal labour, we'd just be comparing that with labour rates, and we do use RS means as a means of kind of comparing costs that are within the local area too. It sets out the financing. If you can also set out the amount of loan requests that you're doing, the estimated acquisition and rehabilitation costs. Again, we know that those may or may not vary as you go through the project, so we'll be kind of working with you at the end to fix on the actual costs incurred. And then sources of any non-city funding that you anticipate using for the acquisition of rehabilitation too. And there's a standard city pro forma with a subsidy analysis that we'd ask you to complete both at the beginning and the end of the process once the resale is successful. And we can go to the next slide. So the eligible properties that we're looking at will be single family and townhomes, fee simple ownership, and currently condominiums aren't accepted in the programme at the moment. And the reason we're looking at or requesting a minimum of 10 years life for the home systems and the structural components is that we don't want to burden low and moderate income buyers with like a high ticket item as soon as they've purchased a property, and to ensure that they've got like a prolonged lifespan. We don't want anybody or households to be displaced during this program. That's not the purpose of it. We want to house people and not have to undergo relocation. We do have a specific area that we're targeting. So it's the corridors of opportunity, which are 6 areas that have been identified by the city. So yeah, we'll be focusing on those ones. And if you could just pop back again. So we're just fixing on those. Building code is also critical, so no illegal structures. We won't be paying for the legalization or permitting of anything like that. No code violations. If when you're viewing the property and it becomes aware that there's an environmental concern, then we'd be looking for your plan of action, timescales and costs for remediating any issues that have been identified. And it's just to reiterate again that the resale value of the rehabilitated property cannot exceed 342,000, and the properties must be sold at market. Yeah, if we move on to the map quickly. So yeah, this is showing you the 6 areas where Charlotte is focusing and actually targeting investment. And that's where we want to focus the areas of where we're looking to include properties within this acquisition and rehab resale program. So those are the ones that you'll be looking for to see if there's any vacant homes, any properties that are on the market at present that may need that you can utilize this program and funding for. Next slide, please. Okay, so the actual application review process. So the this is for when you've actually identified a property, you've compiled the costs and everything like that. You would actually submit that information to me as the program administrator. I'll be reviewing the cost, cross-checking that it kind of conforms to the program, where we're looking at location, property type, resale values. Excuse me, and then as long as it's approved, and we'll do the same as we do with other loans, we'll issue you with a commitment letter, and that would provide you with the level of loan amount that the city is prepared to offer, along with a maximum of 3 months validity period. The documents themselves will be drafted by the city, myself, and then the partner, the AR pool member and their attorney, and then we'd be looking to get those documents executed in-house. With regards to the funds, it would depend on the structure of the deal. So if you're seeking funds, say for the acquisition, then the loan would close at the point that you'd acquire the property. Whereas if you're looking for funds to assist with the rehabilitation of the property itself, then the funds would be released on a reimbursement basis. So as and when you incur the costs, you would submit the invoices, and then the city would make payment based on those invoices. But it's important to note that those invoices must have the supporting information, basically to verify that the costs have been incurred by the AR pool member. And next slide, please. So we actually have an in-house rehab team. So they're basically on point to monitor the works as and when they're going on. So as and when we close on a loan with a pool member, they'll be notified, and we'll keep in contact with you. So as and when works begin, our rehab specialist will actually visit site to check how the progress is going, and they can report back to me with how the works are progressing. We do request that pool members provide us with monthly reports themselves, along with the financial progress. and this is the onus is on the member to actually market the property once it's completed the rehab for the affordable sale. So you're looking at ensuring that in the sale documents that people are fully aware that there's like a maximum income limit. At the resale closing, we do ask that cities given the opportunity to verify that the home buyer is actually eligible as a home buyer for the property. So we'll be looking for income verification to demonstrate that they fall within the programme requirement of maximum of 80% area median income. And then obviously following that, once the resale's closed, we'd be looking to have a payoff statement where we can settle the amount that's payable back to the city, which will then go back into the ARR pool fund. And next slide, please. And we are looking for this to be an ongoing program. So there'll be an annual renewal process for pool members that are interested in continuing. So what would happen is you'd submit a letter to the city and just submit supporting documentation to basically demonstrate that you're still in good standing. We'd ask for the last year's certified accounts and your updated insurance policy too. And then what would happen is once that's approved, I'd issue another letter to say that you're continuing as a pool member for that next year. So that'll be FY26. And that's all for me. So I'd now like to open up. Oh, no, it isn't all from me. We've got the program schedule. I apologise. So the pool, which is where you'd apply to be a member, is to be launched in August. And that's where you're giving your experience, capacity, demonstration of any similar projects you've worked on within the past 5 years. And then the actual funding will open in September of 24. So it gives us time to review the actual member applications, and then you can get going with submitting property funding requests from September. And now I'd like to open the floor for questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that's all we have in terms of the program overview. Again, we try when we ask you to come to these webinars to just provide you the information very quickly so that you can find out a little bit about the program. If you'd like to ask a question, you can either use the raise hand feature at the top of the screen, or you can pop something into the chat, and we'll be happy to respond to it if we can. And if we can't, we will get back to you. Also, all of the program documentation for additional details will be on the website when you're eligible to apply for the pool. We'll put the program outline, which will provide you more detail on the program. So if you have program detail questions, we'll try to answer them today if you do. If not, we will make sure that they are answered by the document that will be on the website coming up in just a few days. Any questions? Well, Ruth, we did an amazing job. Oh, we got one question. There we go. Hold on one second. Yeah, so Rachel asked the question, for shared appreciation, will arrangements longer than 10 years be accepted? Yes, so that's the minimum for the program, but we understand that various nonprofit organizations already run programs like this, and so a longer period will be accepted as long as you meet that minimum requirement. Thank you, Rachel. Kirk, you can come off of mute and ask your question if you'd like.
I'm sorry, I just went back and read the slide. I was looking at it where just to see if new construction would be a part of this process.
No, new construction will not be part of this process.
Yes,
so we'll have
definitely.
Yep. We'll have some other opportunities for new construction coming up soon. And if you're also working for a nonprofit organization for new construction, you can talk to Ruth offline about the home funding pool. So there's actually a way to do that. So Ruth, do you have your email at the end of this slide deck? We'll make sure that Ruth gets her email out. Oh, do you?
Yeah.
There it is. So there's Ruth email, Kirk. You can send her an email about that, and she'll be happy to share that information with you. Thanks for the question.
All right. Jennifer, I have one more question if you don't mind.
Sure.
So is this typically just for acquisitions and sales of property for affordable housing? So people having equity in the home? Are we targeting rental rates or just selling of the home?
So this is for what are eligible for acquisitions are properties that are already on the market by a homeowner who is going to sell their property anyways, or for a rental unit that is no longer occupied. So an empty rental unit to ensure that we don't displace anyone. Those are the properties that are eligible for purchase.
10-4. That
Great.
makes a lot of sense.
Hey, Warren.
Thank you.
Hey, Warren, this is Marcus Portegay. Thanks to you and Ruth for this great overview of this opportunity. It's one question I have related to a scenario where the participant in the program leverages funding to purchase a home and then wants to leverage additional funding to rehab the home. Is there a time window or a time period from purchase to rehab and actually that home is ready for resale? Do you have any restrictions or requirements and time it takes to actually, from the time of purchasing and securing those loans from the city to purchase to the time that the unit needs to be ready for sale?
Yeah, so Ruth said that, we'd like you to be in a place when you apply to the pool that you can close within 90 days to purchase that property. I will go back and check to see if we've talked about a time frame for renovation. But I will tell you that my expectation would be 4 to 6 months. That's typically what we've seen. Okay. The learning that we've done after this is we did this with a couple of partners on a pilot basis over the last couple of years. And typically what we are seeing is 4 to 6 months to get that thing on the market and ready for sale. Great question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, Rachel's got a good one regarding, she says, how long do you anticipate the preparation of the loan docs by the city staff and attorney and pool member to take? Which is a really good question. I can tell you that we've got very efficient attorneys, and it all depends on the efficiency of the turnaround of the pool member and their attorney. To be honest, we have had experience in the past where we've had comments back like within a day. I'm not sure how quick it worked on the previous round because I wasn't actually here, so I can't speak for that. But in terms of other deals that I've been working on, as long as you've got the right people in place, it can be very quick and efficient. Warren, I don't know if you want to extend on that.
No, and these are fairly straightforward transactions. So, we'll already have pre-prepared docs on these that you'll be able to look at and see. So, again, I don't anticipate that being a difficult process. Great. Any other questions before we close out our time together?
I have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sean Kennedy with Prospering Alliance Kennedy Properties. Quick question.
Hey, Sean.
So knowing the market in Charlotte, would it be possible if we identify a property and being that it's so competitive, pay cash to purchase it and being reimbursed from the city once we pay cash for it, just to make sure we secure it at a good price and make sure we get it?
That is an acceptable practice. You just want to make sure that you're fully approved and you have the money reserved in the loan pool before doing that. I would recommend you don't do that until we can get you an approved loan process. So that can happen very quickly. We were making decisions once the partner got us all of the paperwork within 48 hours. It just gives us enough time to be to review your documents to make sure that everything all the costs that you're stating are reasonable. And that it meets the requirements, that it's in the correct location, that the sales cost is going to be correct. So yeah, that is an acceptable practice so long as you reserve the money before you actually make the purchase. But that's a great question, Sean. Thank you. And then I saw one more come in through chat. will the presentation be emailed to us? It won't be emailed to you, but all of this, including this webinar, will be posted onto our proposals website. And if you if you can't find it, email Ruth, and Ruth will send you the link so you can see this proposal. And Ruth is already on top of it. There it is right there. So copy that link down. Everything that comes out from housing services in terms of housing funding opportunities is posted on that page. This webinar will be posted on that page. All the application link will be posted on that page. All the program documents will be posted on that page, but it's a great question. All right, not seeing any additional questions. I don't think I've missed any hands up. Just want to really thank everyone for their time. We recognize that the city can play a part, but it is when we are working together that we actually have the biggest impact on the city. And this is an area where we really want to partner with you to help increase homeownership opportunities in our existing neighborhoods and really give people an opportunity for economic mobility. So thank you all for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to your participation in the loan poll. Take care.